What is up, guys, and welcome to another podcast. I don't know if this is gonna be a podcast. It's gonna be both podcast and YouTube. We're gonna talk about the Knicks versus Heat preview, but I also want to talk about the NBA as a whole from last night or the few nights before that. But I want to first get to this game and say this Eric Spoelstra zone, what he's gonna run at the Knicks is if we all know this. Like everyone that's a fan of the Knicks, we all know that Eric Spoelstra loves to load up, loves to run a zone. If Jalen runs his driving, he's gonna bring two, make us pass it out to Quentin Grimes, to Dante, to Hart, and man, I need Josh Hart to stop hesitating on 3-point shots. If he stops hesitating on 3-point shots, we win this basketball game. And the Knicks win this basketball game if he doesn't hesitate. Because he might be a bad 3-point shooter, but he's gotta shoot the three ball. Um and there's been bet odds that are really like in favor of the Knicks, which kind of tells me that Bam is gonna be out. But I'm gonna talk about Bam. I'm gonna give him his flowers. Great player. He's right now he's playing like he's a defensive monster right now. The way, and if we do play against him, the way that the Knicks will have to do it, and the way that Eric Spoelstra builds his defense is around Bam Adebayo. The way they can run the zone is around Bam Adebayo. The way he can switch 1 through 5 is because of Bam Adebayo. The way their defensive versatility is because of Bam Adebayo. Like, these are all things that Bam Adebayo does and leads the Miami Heat in that defensive category. And there is a stat right here about Bam Adebayo, which I screenshotted to give him his flowers. Bam Adebayo limits opponents to 17% from the field in pick and roll scenarios and restricts them to 21.4 in isolation plays. Man, if this does not speak 1 through 5 defender, I don't know what does. And I don't think that though if Bam does play, they won't run zone the whole entire game. Of course they won't. They'll run a little bit of zone. They'll run a little bit of man to man, so they can use Bam Adebayo as that guy on the pick and roll, and he can drop, he can come out, switch. There's a lot of versatility with him, and there's a lot of he can trap. He's big, has big arms, can go stand up there, trap Jalen Brunson. There's just a lot they can do. If they lose Bam Adebayo, all this is gonna be for nothing. So I'm just gonna tell you how big of a loss this will be for them. And I'm telling you, if they lose Bam Adebayo, this should be like a 120 to 102 type game. In the Knicks' favor. But my biggest thing is if Bam is there, my biggest matchup is RJ versus Butler. My biggest matchup is RJ versus Butler and Mitch versus Bam. Those are my two key matchups here. I'm gonna get to RJ versus Butler because I got the Bam a lot. RJ versus Butler. I want RJ to guard Butler. We need to stop with this Quentin Grimes. I'm gonna guard the best player. That can't happen. He doesn't do that. It needs to depend on what the player is. If you're trying to guard, Devin Booker, then fine. But if you're trying to guard Jason Tatum, leave that for RJ Barrett. If you're going to try to guard Jimmy Butler, leave that for RJ Barrett. If you're going to try to guard Anthony Edwards, leave that for RJ Barrett. Like, you can guard Stephen Curry. You can guard the best guards in the league, you can guard them. Trae Young. Just go down there and guard them. But when you try to guard bigger players, the shooting guard, small forwards, you cannot do that. You can't do that. You're not strong enough now. You get blown by, or you're either weak and you just get bullied. No disrespect. It's just like, Jimmy's gonna bowl right through you. I know he had an amazing play where he like almost like sprained his ankle, came back, got the ball out, but I do like Quentin Grimes' defense, but it's just like, can we see something different, especially in the regular season? Can the Knicks show something different that they can play RJ and they trust RJ to play defense because I don't know if they do because that's my thing. Like I know Quentin Grimes is a good defender, but Bam, I mean not Bam. Am I missing it? Okay, but Butler, you got to guard Butler with RJ. Yeah, let's get around the league, and my first game that I want to talk about is the Bucks versus Celtics. The Bucks shot 38% from three, and the Celtics shot 40% from three, and the Celtics won that game 119 and 116. Uh, that was a game where you could see that the Bucks weren't ready for the Celtics, and they just weren't ready for the 3-point shooting. And they bring in Adrian Griffin because they're having troubles with 3-point shot from the Celtics. And Mike Budenholzer didn't respect their 3-point shooting, and it just didn't end well. But now they have Adrian Griffin. He respects the 3-point shot, and they're expecting better results. I mean, I can't tell you after this first game, but all I can tell you is that the Celtics are still. It don't matter which coach it is. It don't matter if it's me. It don't matter if it's my next door neighbor. They're gonna hit threes. That's all I can tell you. So let's get to the Nets versus Hawks game. That game was very, 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 very good, and that game went down to the wire with a bunch of like. Let me give it a rant. Let me give a rant because I only got to catch the end of the game. Why are we still letting Trae Young get away with these fouls? Why? What wasn't this supposed to be eliminated? He just veers into contact. Like, can we stop? Like, can we not? This is contact. He's not even playing basketball. He's just playing bowling pins. He's just a freaking like. What is he doing? Like what? Man, and he's getting rewarded for it too. He's not gonna stop. It's not his fault. It's the ref's fault. It's not his fault. If I was like, okay, I could veer into the defender, I get a foul call, I would do that all day long. But it's the people head up that need to stop it. And Adam Silver put those rules in place, and they gotta abide by that. The refs gotta abide by that, and they gotta call it. They can't just and the refs what they do is they call in the first month and they just stop calling it. Like you gotta still call the foul. That's an offensive foul. But yeah, Mikal Bridges is that man. 40 points, 15 rebounds, not 15 rebounds, 40 points, 10 rebounds. It's a man. He's great. And if you got a doubt about do the Nets have a star, they have a star. Mikal Bridges is that guy. You saw it in kind of with Tyrese Maxey. You saw it in Phoenix, 3-point shooter, defense. The guy is handle, but he's not gonna have enough. He's not gonna show it because he's playing with Devin Booker. And was that Kevin Durant? No, he got traded with Kevin Durant. Playing with Devin Booker, Chris Paul. He's not gonna get a lot of dribbling opportunities. Send him to the Nets. We already know he can dribble the basketball. The sky's the limit for the man. He's young. He can dribble. Like he can play defense at a high level. He can guard your best player, and he's a two-way. And it's so great to see. He's an actual two-way player. He can guard your best player, go down there, hit a three. But let me marvel on Nick Claxton's defense. Nick Claxton had a possession where I think it was Trae Young blew by somebody. Shout out Trae Young, another great game. The guy's a great player. I'm just mad at when he veers in defenders. He's a great player. But Trae Young blew by somebody, got to the paint, missed the layup, missed the chippy, got it back, shot like a little floater, got it absolutely rejected by Nick Claxton, and then he got the ball back. Trae Young got the ball back, tried to dribble around Nick Claxton, kind of got a little bit around Nick Claxton, but it was enough. He got enough of he was close enough to go put a hand up and try to distract Trae Young, and he missed the layup. And that was a big play. I don't know when it was, but it was a big play in like the fourth or overtime that the Nets needed to stop, and Nick Claxton just did it by himself. He did the interior defense, did the outside. Like we talk about great defenders, Bam Adebayo. We gotta put Nick Claxton in that same breath. We gotta put Anthony Davis and Nick Claxton in that same breath. Why do we just forget about Nick Claxton? The guy's a great defensive player. I know he played in Brooklyn, but again, Brooklyn, it's not good. with Mikal Bridges, but that they have Mikal Bridges and Nick Claxton. Those two players, they ain't gonna take you to the championship, but those are two young players that you can build around. And what Nick Claxton has done on the defensive end and what he's gonna keep doing, it's just masterful. Um, Reminds me of Mitchell Robinson with a little bit less rebounding. The way he can just like catch lobs, also athletic player. Go throw him up, go run some DHOs, go do something. Very good player where he's a vertical threat. I mean, it's just everything about that man except shooting is great. Um, a 1 through 5 player, as we say, every single good defensive player, every single DPOY candidate is 1 through 5 except for Rudy Gobert, because Rudy Gobert is absolutely dominant. But 1 through 5 defensive players like a Nick Claxton, like a Bam Adebayo, like an Anthony Davis are so valuable because the sky's the limit on your defensive possessions, and especially if you have Mikal Bridges or somebody else just like guarding, and then you just get right past them, and then you have just the paint you have to try to score on, and just very good defense by him from Nick Claxton. Just, I mean, masterful for me to watch. I mean, I clicked on it for 2 minutes and he already made an impact defensively. Just great to see. So let's get into another game, another team that I love. This is not the Wizards. They are not in the Wizards and they're not in the Pistons kind of tier anymore. The Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets are led by a player in LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges. I'm not Miles Bridges. I'm not hearing drama, man. Miles Bridges is a great basketball player, and LaMelo Ball. They are both two great players, and you also have players like Terry Rozier. I might be blanking. You also have players like Terry Rozier, PJ Washington, who are all great players in their own right, and you just put them around LaMelo Ball, who's a absolute amazing player and amazing passer, and the way that Miles Bridges came back and affected this team was that his 3-point shooting is great. His 3-point shooting helps this spacing a lot. So you give a good passer like this spacing, and you give this good passer like this a rim threat. Let me look at their starting lineup from the last game. They're running Mark Williams center. Mark Williams is good. He's on our radar as a top player. He's definitely good in his own right. He can go up there, young player, young big. The Hornets are always going to try to find for their big. Shout out my big in 2K. I'm going to give my little shout out for there. But they're always going to try to find their big, and they didn't. I think they did with Mark Williams. Very good center. Does some great things, and I'm hoping for the future for him, man. Hayward, he just needs to get back. He just needs to get back in the rhythm. Brandon Miller. Okay, then you have Brandon Miller, who's just walked on the NBA scene as a 3-level scorer. Just great team all around. And I mean, not great team, but good team. Good team. They are not somebody. They went and they were in Charlotte, and they beat the Celtics, and they went and took care of business of a little less team in the Wizards. This might be a little bit of a rant right here. So we get to these close games. Yes, I'm gonna just mention in the Mavericks beat the Lakers by 3. There isn't really a lot to talk about. LeBron's amazing. I gotta keep saying that, but there's not really a lot to talk about. But if those role players do step up for the Lakers, they're gonna have games like this where they're gonna be close with the very good teams like the Mavericks. But CP3 ejected. CP3 and Scott Foster are the most funniest people to watch. And it sometimes gets to a point where it's like, can you just keep your beef aside? You're here to ref a basketball game. Can we not throw somebody out for you not liking them? Can we not? People pay money to watch these players play, and the refs are just throwing people out because they don't like them. You understand how this sounds. That's just my point of view of it. It just isn't right. I don't like CP3. I'm not a CP3 fan. I'm not a CP3 guy at all. I don't like CP3. Some people, I think he's overliked. But I'm just saying this as a point of view. I think that CB3 is on the right side of this. Um, but yeah, I think CB3 is a gripe um, of this because you cannot have other narratives if you're a ref. Like, you cannot be reffing a game with a player that you have, a hatred towards. You just can't add that. Just can't add that. Have a nice day. Peace out. Sorry for the little anticlimactic ending, but it was great. It was great NBA. Great NBA so far in these first few weeks, first month or something. Great NBA basketball. See you guys in the post game show. Peace out. Have a nice day. Let's go.